I wanted to showcase this team that Het Bonet actually used to win the recent tournament on the weekend, the Wildfire tournament, and it's potentially where the kind of meta might be going. And Het Bonet is very, very creative, comes up with a lot of unique teams, and I'm not sure if he came up with this team, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because it is kind of his style. And it's kind of two teams in one, so we have a lot of alluvials. I think there's like 16, and you can see we only have a limited amount of augments, and it's kind of two teams in one. We are up against Phosphorus Bloom, which is another meta team, and not only is this team quite versatile, it does really well against Phosphorus Bloom, which a lot of people have trouble with. So I'll show you against Phosphorus Bloom, and hopefully we can just showcase a few other matchups, but it is a bit of a high level build because there is two teams within the one build. This will be the standard way to play against Phosphorus Bloom. So round one I skipped, but usually we're just going the 3 Earth, 2 Rogue opener, and any of these gauntlets will do. So let's just put on the Water Gauntlet, and that would be your round one. Round two, we're just going towards the 5 Earth. This gives us 5 Earths, but you are having your Ape on in the corner here. I should have had my Ranger here, and he's going to buff the damage on the Ranger as well as protect him with that stun. So why 5 Earth does well against the Bloom kind of Phosphorus Furiox build is because Resolve, Grit and Resolve do really well against kind of auto attacks and teams that aren't doing large bursts of damage. So the Furiox that he'll put down later, the devolved version of the Scoriox, does auto attacks, and his auto attacks does extra energy damage once he omegas in a small area, so he kind of peppers you. I mean, he will end up getting a bit of pure damage, but that's just one example of why Earth does quite well. And we will eventually get 3 Bulwark, so they become quite tanky. Round 2, we've got our 5 Earth. We're going to put down the Geyser. We're going to pair our Ranger with the Geyser, and this will give us Enchanter Tsunami. And to finish that Enchanter off, we're putting down the Kukulus. And I'm just going to put the Kukulus in the middle here. I just want him to get his Omega off and not be hit too early because he's going to be doing Enchanter. And we're not going to be super strong till we hit our Gauntlet on our Ranger, but it's a pretty solid round 3. We've got the 5 Earth, Tsunami. We usually don't end up with 3 Tsunami, but we do have the Axodon here as an option. It'll make more sense as we get to the later rounds, and we will end up with a 3 Bulwark. So for him, he just wants to stay out of the firing range of my Ranger Omega. And for me, I ideally want to be hitting his Furiox, getting his Furiox out of the game quite early. And then we can just out-tank the Phosphorus. You can see we're already doing quite well now, and we don't even have the Gauntlet down. So if you're wondering why there's all these air units, it's because we can use that against, say, Scion or Invoker, or Tsunami Enchanter, where they're more of a caster team. So it gives us a lot of dodge, but 7 air, we'll eventually get to 7 air, and that gives us a lot of energy reduction for the opponent on their first Omega. So round 4, definitely want our Ranger, Gauntlet, and Armor. This will mean more frequent Omegas. Then we can just get our extra Bulwark down. So for him, I'm hoping he leaves his Ranger here. So my Ranger, there you go, he did move it. So I'm going to be shooting over this way, and that protects his Furiox a bit better. But let's just see how this plays out. So the one weakness to this team is you don't have a lot of augments. So you can imagine in the later game, the opponent's going to be utilizing their mastery points a lot better if we get to like round 7, 8, because we won't have the augments. But it does free up a lot of mastery points to change positions and potentially do some swaps as well. Maybe end up going 4 rogues if you need it, catch them off guard, and like I said, we could ditch one of the Bulwarks and put in the 3 Tsunami if we feel like that's going to help. But it probably won't in this case, because you can see we're winning this because we're more tanky. Round 5, we're just placing augments, so I'm just going to get extra energy, and I was too busy explaining things, but yeah, it would have been nice to get like a Suppressor down or a Domitable. So I do really need to change position, so if I had been paying attention and not explaining things, I probably would have just moved my rogues over this side and focused this side and obviously get another augment down. And we probably would have won that round, but let's take this to late game and see how it plays out. But like I said, that's the big weakness of this team, is the late game is not going to be in your favour because we don't have as many augments, so you really do want as many legendary augments as you can. So hopefully I've bluffed him enough and he thinks I won't change positions, so we're just going to go hard on this side. He's still got the Bulwark here. Let's get an Indomitable down here. Less energy for them, less energy here, so every time the Tsunami goes off, or the geyser, he'll be reducing their energy. Let's have my Volante doing a bit more damage. Just reduce their attack speed if he something in range here. At least might be equipping the Ranger. And usually I wouldn't be playing legendary augments, like just to show the standard play, but the opponent is, and this team especially is relying on those legendary augments. So he did put Indomitable down here, and he moved his Lalura, putting reduce attack speed. So that's a good move by him. See if my Volante can get on the Furiox. Hopefully, we can take him down. We might be able to do okay in overtime if we get a CC off here with the Kukulus. The Lura is doing a lot of good work, but he's not going to kill anything in the back here. So you can see how good that Volante is. Hopefully that showcased how good this can be against Bloom. I will link this build down below in the description, so you can click on that and import it straight away. If you appreciate that and the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Ask me anything down below, I'll answer any questions in the comment section. So this will be the other variation of the team. If you're coming up against a caster team, so the Tsunami Enchanter build that my opponent has is a very popular one at the moment. And the Earth build that I've shown you won't work as well. So now we can go this air version. So I'll explain it as we go, but we're opening up with Tempest Enchanter, so our Rangers attached to our Kukuraf, and then you'll have enough for just a Grocko. So that would be your opener. Round 2, we can get our other Enchanter down, and a couple of the fighters. We've got 2 rogues here we could have put down that round, but we've gone these 2 fighters just to punch through their front line, because our rogues will probably get stuck on the Flood, and if we can delay that, we won't have to reposition our rogues. We could place them, where we want. Maybe we'll stack them both on the Flood, but at least we get to see where they are. And the 2 fighters, the Joel, assuming it's pronounced Joel, M-Joel, and the Doka are going to punch through the front line a bit better. So why is this team good into caster team is because air reduces increases the energy cost of their first Omega, and we'll eventually get to 7, which makes it 50% more expensive for their first Omega. Their team is relying on Enchanter and Tsunami. Enchanter, every time you enter Omegas, it's going to proc Enchanter to the whole team, which gives everyone a shield and a bit of damage to whoever the shield hits. If we can reduce that initial one, that's going to be very valuable, and then that also stops Tsunami, like it delays Tsunami a bit. So again, it could have gone the 2 rogues there, but we've just placed down our 3rd fighter, the Relentless Zepphelinx. So he's going to be really good. It doesn't quite get us to 7 air, but it gives us 6 air, or the 5 air bonus, and then the 3 fighter. So our 3 fighters are going to be doing 25% more attack speed, and everyone else gets 10%. So again, we just get to punch through their front line as quick as possible. We just want to reduce their numbers as quick as possible, because every time they proc Enchanter, the more alluvials they have on the board, the more those shields are doing pure damage to everyone around them. So the other reason air works so well is because Tempest on the Kukuraf, it's extra 25% dodge, or 25 dodge, so yeah, I think he gets up to about 70% dodge, or something crazy once we get 7 air. And every time he dodges, he's going to steal energy from the attacker. So the attacker is going to have their energy reduced, and Kukuraf is going to cast more for that Enchanter. So really strong. So I do just want to punch through the Flood quicker. I think he'll eventually, even if I place a rogue over here, he's probably going to move his Ranger back, so I'll just commit to the 2 rogues here, and maybe they can take out the Flood. So I'm just going to reduce their energy, increase our energy, and too busy talking, so we didn't spend all the mastery points, but it would have been nice to get maybe something down in the Kukuraf. But we could have easily placed the Gauntlet there as well on our Ranger, which probably might have been a better move, but the idea here is we just want to nerf. I prefer to get the Suppressor down to nerf their energy even more, and we're really relying on our front line anyway to punch through, like our fighters to just punch through everything anyway, so keep that in mind. Round 4, it might be better to put the Gauntlet down, but as you can see, we win anyway, so we still had a lot more to do. Like I said, the Gauntlet wasn't down and we had plenty of augments, so hopefully that shows when you would play that air variation. It's going to be against Tsunami Enchanter, Scion, for example, and Invoker. And then pretty much everything else you play the Earth variation, which I've showed you. So the devs have said pretty soon they're very likely going to change the way augments work, and you'll only be able to place 1 augment of each type. So for example, you won't be able to play 3 variations of the Suppressor. So the other reason why this team is so good, and maybe a little bit ahead of the meta, is that it's already working within this meta. And one weakness it has is the lack of augments for the late game. That might be the case anyway for the next patch. So if you start thinking this way now, where you have these different, the way Hepburn is thinking, where he has almost two teams within the one team, and just less augments, more alluvials, you may be ahead of the meta come next patch anyway. I hope that helps, guys. If it did, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.